Yeah, you guys can banter
Oh, cool.
as normal.
Oh, did you start the room though?
Yeah.
I'm
Greetings,
not in.
everyone. No, you're not in here yet.
Oh. Oh, Jasmine, you have to hit join the room. Sorry. Hey.
Hold up. Mute yourself. There we go. Thank you.
Sorry, guys. Still getting used to the tech of the YouTube / Clubhouse.
That's quite a mouthful.
Sorry, I don't know how to explain it. But anyways, we have a great show today.
Now I got to focus on like where am I in the camera and got to be in the center.
Are we officially like good to start or?
Yeah, we're good to start.
Okay, we're good to start.
Welcome, everyone. Hopefully you all are doing wonderful. All right, good to go. Welcome, everyone, to the Portrait System Podcast, Clubhouse Edition. My name is Kevin Conde, and I'm here with my co-host, Ashleigh Taylor. If you are not familiar with the Portrait System, we are a portrait photography podcast that is powered by Sue Bryce. Nikki Kloster hosts our Monday episodes, and Ashley and I co-host our Clubhouse Edition, which is live here on the Clubhouse app every Friday at noon Pacific, and sometimes at 1 p.m. And then our episodes are released on Thursdays. You can tune in on your favorite podcast app by searching for the Portrait System. Ashleigh, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Kevin. I'm excited to be here with you today on Clubhouse and YouTube Live. And I'm so excited that our guest is Jasmin Jade because she's an amazing photographer and I got to know her at the Portrait Master Shootout this year. So welcome, Jasmin.
Hi, happy to be here.
Yay. Well, before we jump into our interview with you, I just like to remind our Clubhouse listeners that for the first 30 minutes, Kevin and I will interview Jasmin. And then at the halfway point, we'll open it up to your questions. So if you have a question and you're listening in the Clubhouse app, you just need to hit the hand icon in the lower right-hand part of your screen. And then we can bring you up on stage to ask Jasmin your question. And if you think of your question too early, you can just write it down so you don't forget.
There you go. Thank you. Welcome to the podcast, Jasmin.
Hi.
So we are excited to have you on. As Ashley said, we got the opportunity to meet you at the Portrait System Shootout. And since then, we've kept up with you on Instagram, started seeing everything you were doing, and we noticed that you were focusing on outdoor boudoir, which is a little different than what you normally see boudoir sessions being at. So we wanted to have you on to talk about that. So my first question is, how did you decide to start focusing on boudoir outdoors?
So I kind of fell into it. I had a boudoir studio, and I was also shooting freelance models and models for an agency outdoors. There wasn't boudoir. And then I lost my studio space in 2016. And I had to find a way to keep my clients that I had already booked. And I didn't want to go and find, studio space to book and stuff like that. And now, of course, my dog is barking.
It's okay.
So I had the idea, why not go outside with my boudoir clients and do what I do with my models, but with my clients. And so outdoor boudoir was basically born for me.
I love that. I've shot a couple outdoor boudoir sessions. They were in the beginning of my career, typically when I didn't have a studio. But then lately I've been noticing, because I live in Santa Barbara, which is like a beautiful beach town, that I have had some clients like want to do kind of swimsuit shots at the beach. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I even shoot outdoor boudoir still, even though I have a studio. So I love that you like innovated this concept and made it work for you when you didn't have a studio. Because I think sometimes people can just get so bogged down by the fact that they need a studio, they need to find some place to rent, they need to cover that cost. And it shouldn't stop you from like getting started in your business or progressing in your business.
Yeah, right.
So can you tell us a little bit about what you feel like make the best locations for an outdoor boudoir shoot?
Yes. So when I started with my outdoor boudoir, I started to use parks. Yeah. Public parks.
Parks?
Yes, parks.
Wow.
Like playground parks?
So what you need to know is for like outdoor boudoir, the people who will book you for it, they don't mind going into a park. So I started with parks. I think a beach is much better because on the beach, people are in, a bikini or swimsuit anyways. So you're not doing anything weird. But when you're in a park, you have to find like a secluded area.
Yeah.
I don't know what, yeah. So
not the kiddie playground, basically.
Yeah, you will get dirty looks from mom. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so a secluded area. And like when you say a park, because I guess that could mean a lot of things. Do you mean like a nature preserve type park, like a very like tall grass, like lots of secluded areas type place, or do you just mean like a city park? Because I'm thinking about like urban area parks, where sometimes they're not very big even.
Yeah, no. So I don't do urban area parks because most of the time you also need a permit for these parks.
Okay.
Which is okay because you can put that in it's a business expense, the business permit. But most of the time parks, nature preserves, nature parks with high grass, with little creeks, you can go in a creek and take pictures, and lots of secluded area. You will have people walking by or people on a bicycle or something, but most of the time you are alone. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Kevin, you go.
No, I was going to ask in regards to other people being around, have you ever had instances where people just wanted to sit and watch? And does that ever make the client nervous, and how you handle that situation?
Yeah, so so most of the time when you have somebody that is standing there in their underwear and they're like, let's say a bunch of men walking by, they actually look away. So I've never had anybody standing there and staring at us. It's just people are trying not to look, and they're trying to not to look. They're like just walking, and trying to ignore you. And we're like, okay, they're not even looking. Okay, good. But I had, for example, moms with kids, that were like, they got a little bit mad, or some, like a wife with her husband, and she saw us and she got mad.
Oh, that's funny.
Stuff like that, but nothing serious. So it's doable.
One thing I was wondering is like, if we could get into the logistics of it in the sense of like, golden hour, does it have to be golden hour? What if it's like a really hot day or a really cold day, or weather situations? And also like, where do the clients change their outfits? Just, it feels like there's a lot of logistics that probably go into planning an outdoor boudoir session. So if you could touch on those points, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So what was your first question, Ashley?
Let's go with inclement weather, or just, like, because you're in the DC metro area, right?
Yeah,
and
right
I know it can get real hot and muggy in the summer, because once I was there in the summer and almost divorced my husband because he made me walk way too far. The humidity to see the Lincoln Memorial. Yeah. So how do you deal with that?
So the humidity in this area, I hate it. I totally agree. But I've been different places. So I've been, ever since I started in Indiana, which is just as muggy and almost, yeah. And then I was in Arizona, where actually great for outdoor boudoir because there's so much space and you don't need a park. You just go. And
it's really hot in Arizona in the summertime, obviously.
It's
and
really
even in the fall,
hot, but it's different heat. So once the sun goes down, and it's a dry heat, so you don't sweat at all. So that's perfect. But here, in the Midwest and here, when you have like the weather, you cannot predict the weather. So I do it like when, like any outdoor outdoor session when there is just rain, we just have to reschedule. And I don't reschedule for heat. Heat is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, but most of the time it's for golden hour. So if you go during the day, the pictures won't turn out. I don't like. I mean, I do shoot in harsh light, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the soft golden hour light.
So that really means you can only take one client per day.
Yes.
And that the shoot has to be pretty much like an hour or 90 minutes long, because you're really trying to concentrate the shoot around that perfect golden hour light.
Yes, most of the time I start like 2 hours before.
Okay.
Yeah. Walk
and
around.
did you provide like hair and makeup when you're shooting outdoors, or, like, is that something that you do like somewhere like at the client's house, or do you not even worry about that and they just turn up how they turn up, or how does that work?
So hair and makeup, I've done it a few, depending on my location, I've done it a few different ways. I've had a makeup artist come to location, and we start early enough so we can do hair and makeup like in the car, like on the car. And I've had clients go to a hair and makeup artist that I know, or to a hairstylist the hair salon that I know, and I meet them there, and then we drive to location together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, it can, like, a photographer who wants to shoot outdoor boudoir can be as creative as they want with how they want to deal with hair and makeup, provide it, not provide it, if the client should have it done at the shoot, or if they can just go to the makeup artist's place to get it done. That doesn't even like have to be a part of the time that you put into the photo shoot.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be. And also you can just tell them, get your own makeup done. Like, don't even put that into any packages. Just have them do it themselves. Clients do that,
Yeah.
And also outdoor boudoir for me is all more natural. So makeup and the hair will be more natural. And so it fits into the nature more, not really like face full of makeup.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I'm going to destroy the hair anyways.
Oh, because you're going to have them like tossing it and everything.
Yes, I always say, I'm going to destroy your hair.
That's hilarious. Okay, and then the last question in that series of like logistical questions was about like changing outfits, because at least when I do boudoir in my studio, I include 4 outfit changes. And when we do go on location, it's obviously very hard to change outfits. You either have to have like hold up a towel and they have to be brave enough to change behind that, or we just don't change outfits. So how do you handle that?
So my experience with that was, so I do tell everybody you will be seen. So if you have to change clothes, bring like a big big cardigan or something to throw over, or or in summertime like a nice long flowy dress or something that you can walk around with, that you can just change your lingerie or your swimsuits or something. And I know there are tents. I know they have tents nowadays where you can take them to location with you. Like you put
those pop-up ones. Yeah.
Pop-up tents, yes. But in my experience, most of the clients that book you for like a boudoir outdoors, they're not
shy.
Yeah, they're not concerned about that. They're not concerned about being seen. It's really enough when like you said, when you have like a towel. I do that towel because I don't want any mom with their kids, walking by and then, oh my God, yeah. So I do that. And then also what I do a lot is bring a dress, like a nice flowy dress or something to shoot in. Because I just love it and they love it. Women love dresses, Yeah. And that gives for another look. So you have like a boudoir look, and you have like a more of a portrait outdoors look. Yeah. So
how many outfits would you say they normally like go through in a photo shoot?
2, not more than 2, just 2 different looks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they don't go through a bunch of outfits. That's just way too complicated. So 2 different looks. So, and sometimes I even forget to change the outfit.
To second look.
Yeah, and then we're like, oh, we forgot. Yeah.
So then, and also this is, assume goes without saying, but you can't do like a fine art nude shot really outdoors unless you were truly in like a secluded, super secluded area.
Yeah, that you can't do. I mean, you could, but it comes with a risk.
Yeah.
Angry moms all around you.
I actually think I've done it once in Hawaii, and I didn't know that you can't do topless on American beaches. You know, I'm from Germany. And
you can do like nude beaches. There are nude beaches.
Yes.
In California, at least. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I didn't know that you know, I thought you can just do. So I've done it once.
Oh.
And she wouldn't do it, you know. But then later, my husband told me you cannot do nude. Like, okay.
Yeah. In America, you have to find like a beach that's designated a nude beach. Like, yeah. It has to be kind of
shoot. Actually, that would be a good place to shoot outdoor boudoir. Like
for sure.
So when you're going off to do one of these shoots, what equipment are you bringing along with you? Are you bringing, I know you said you're doing golden hours, so are you just shooting natural light, never bringing any form of lighting equipment with you? Is it just your camera? What are you taking with you?
So that also depends on my location. For example, in Arizona, the light was so harsh that I had a reflector with me to just reflect some light back to the person, you know. But most of the time, so here, for example, in DC, you know, most of the time it's just me and my camera. That's it. Me and my camera, and maybe some fun stuff to play with, like a prism or something. But I don't want to carry anything around because it's like a hike. Sometimes you walk through a park, you go through a beach, and it's like the camera and 2 lenses or something is already enough, you know, for you to carry, and then maybe a dress or something. So it's just me and my camera, basically.
So you're never using an assistant because maybe for reflector, but I would think that's not a need then.
No, I don't need an assistant. No, you can have an assistant, but it's easier. So for me, it's like outdoor boudoir, as simple as possible, right? No assistant, no light carrying around, just you and your client, or you and your model, and you just create art together. So there's nobody that. Sometimes, you know, they bring their friends, of course, and that's good because then they can actually film you for reels and put you on Instagram. Yeah, so they do that, you know, you can do that.
Yeah, you get like a free assistant if they bring a friend.
I was gonna say, you just hand them your phone and be like, here, get me some marketing material.
And actually, an assistant would be good for that. I actually thought about that once. I should bring somebody along that always takes video of me.
Yeah,
you need all that stuff for Instagram nowadays.
So I know you said that you don't really do urban parks, and it sounds like you've lived in more kind of outdoor secluded areas in general, but have you ever done like urban cityscape outdoor boudoir, or is that just too risque?
I don't think I did, because there are always people around you, and it's not. Yeah, and I mean, you could try to do it, but the police also driving around.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah.
And I just don't want to, you know, so no parks, so nature, it is.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've just seen like cool photos, and I'm sure they have permits and all kinds of stuff because they're usually done by like magazines or like a famous photographer like Peter Lindbergh, but that are like New York or Paris or like some really cool city where, you know, like a woman's got a trench coat on and like lingerie.
Oh God, I want to do this look so badly. I'm like, I need somebody in a trench coat and lingerie.
I'll do it. Just kidding.
Fly out too.
I think you come here, Ashleigh.
I'll do it. But yeah, like I think those looks are so cool. But yeah, I could see how you could get in trouble pretty fast just from my days of shooting like engagement shoots and cityscapes. I've been definitely like kicked out of spots where people were fully clothed just because of like location issues and permits and things like that. So I can't imagine like adding
And
Lingerie
also
type of
when you have a client, yes, exactly. And also I think if you want to do something like this in a city setting, you need like a model. Like I think a client, there would be too I don't know.
intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone with high confidence.
So basically a model.
Basically. I wanted to bring it back. Earlier, did you say you are getting permits, or in those particular parks, you don't need them?
You have to, before you go anywhere, you have to check if you need a permit for this park or for the beach. For example, almost all beaches in Hawaii, you need a permit. You cannot just go and shoot there. It's you just need to worry about it. I mean, it's a business expense and a tax write-up, and you have a business, you need a permit. So that's why I try to go places where, not that I not want to get a permit, but I try to go places where I know, okay, that's just like public place and I don't need a permit.
Yeah.
I was going to say, whenever you do look at locations that might need a permit, is there a price range that for people out there listening, is it hundreds of dollars? Is it like a $50 kind of thing? Or what does that look like price wise?
It depends. It depends on what city you are in and where you live. So I have not looked at permits here in the DC area, but I know you need one for every park you shoot in downtown. But I have no idea what it costs. It could be $1,000. It could be just $200. So it all depends.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a wedding photographer, I started in Los Angeles, which is where I'm originally from, and it could get very expensive depending on, like, also the location itself that you wanted to shoot at. Like, there were certain places where it'd be like $100 to shoot at some place, and then there'd be places where they film lots of commercials, lots of film industry stuff. Like, you cannot shoot on Rodeo Drive. I learned the very hard way.
Go into that.
Tell us.
Well, there was like some Men in Black suits, like literally like the movie Men in Black that came out, and we're like, ma'am, you need to leave. You cannot shoot here. And I was like young enough and naive enough to think that like, it's fine. I will just walk away like one block and it will be fine. And they came back and they were like, we've warned you. You're going to be fined like $1,000 if you do not leave the premises right now. And I was like, oh, so sorry.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like, because I wanted to do this like whole breakfast at Tiffany's thing with a couple, and we wanted to shoot like on Rodeo Drive in front of the Tiffany's, and like, nope, can't do it. And then we tried to move to like other areas of Rodeo Drive, and like, nope, can't do it. And yeah, I've heard from other photographers, like, they're just super intense, because if you think about it, there's a lot of commercials. Like, if you know what Rodeo Drive looks like, and you see a lot of car commercials, especially, like, there's a lot that films there, and they probably get paid so much money, the city of Beverly Hills, that they just can't, like, they don't allow any other like small. I even pretended I was a student because I looked so young, and because I'm so short, and I was like, I'm just a student. They were like, we do not care, you need to get out of here. Like, it was really intimidating. So you do need to be careful depending on where you shoot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've keeping up with what's going on in photography. I think I learned, like, it's been a while since I read this, but I think like places like Malibu or in those areas does not matter. Could be a student. You could just be a random person with a DSLR. If they see you taking pictures, you have to have a permit. And if you don't, they will fine you. So
it just depends. Like, I mean, I've done a lot of shoots in Malibu, no problem. It's been a long time, so I can't speak for that now, but 8 years ago, 10 years ago, shot in Malibu a lot. Certain beaches, no problem. There's some new beaches in Malibu I used to do all my outdoor boudoir sessions at. I shot at, I forget what the mall is called, but there's like a mall over there, and I had no problem. But it's just, LA is really hit or miss because it's so film industry, like, it's such a film town. So, and I would assume that New York City is the same way. And possibly Atlanta as well, because there's a lot of filming done in Atlanta. So I would think if you're in a city that has like a big film industry presence, you're going to have a harder time than like a smaller town or some more secluded place. But also, like you were on Oahu, right, in Hawaii, and that's also a big filming area.
Yes.
So I think that's part of what accounts for all the issues.
So going back to the outdoor shoots, how long are you spending out there whenever you take a client on location?
Probably 3 hours all together until sunset. Like,
okay, so within that time frame, are you looking at just one location? We're going to stay here for the entire 3, or are you hopping into the car going from spot to spot to spot?
That's a good question. I am only staying in one location. So we talk about the location. We, before we know where we want to go, and we just go. If you have like one location and you just walk around that one location, you find so many cool spots and different areas that you don't need to go anywhere else. It's just to keep it simple, don't go anywhere else. Just keep everything simple.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree that like if you can find a place where you can just hike around and not have to drive in between places, because driving can eat up a lot of time, especially if you're in a place like DC or some
traffic
where there's a lot of traffic. Yeah, because that can like kill your whole shoot, especially around golden hour, which is usually rush hour too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what were you gonna say, Jasmine? Sorry.
Oh no, I just said not worth it.
Because I was going to pivot us to talk about marketing a little bit of these outdoor boudoir sessions, because I would think that you really have to have a clear marketing message to really talk up like the benefits to shooting outdoors, since most people think about a studio when they think about, or a hotel room or a bedroom environment when they think about a boudoir shoot. So what are your tips on marketing these sessions?
Yeah, so when I started with outdoor boudoir, it wasn't really a thing. So nowadays, I think it's really like, like a lot of people are doing it. But the way I marketed it when I started with it, and it still works the same way, is you just put it on your webpage. You brand it, like I branded my outdoor boudoir sessions Into the Wild, because that's literally what we did, go into the wild. I even have a logo for it. And when people come on your webpage, they can choose, do you want to go into the wild or do you want to go into the studio? For example, if you have a studio. If you don't have a studio, you just put your whole webpage branded to your outdoor boudoir session. You just make a thing out of it. This is what you do. And when people will book you, when they see a webpage and they want to do this, they will book you for it. And then of course you put it on your social media accounts and everywhere. And yeah.
So yeah, sorry, you go, Kevin.
No, I was just going to point out, I think that's an important, the fact that you said that you brand it as such to the point where you even have a logo for it. That is super interesting to really point out, hey, it's not something that has to be done indoors. You, as you're showing, you're taking it on location, and everything about your brand that you have created involving boudoir is showing that,
Yes. It's just like, family photographers who go outside, their whole brand is outside family photography. So you can do the same thing with, of course, portraits outside, but you can do the same thing with boudoir outside, Yeah.
So are you saying that most people will find you just through Googling like boudoir photographer near me, boudoir photographer in my area, or do you like do any promotions, specials, Facebook ads, networking, all of the above for these types of sessions?
Yeah, so I do everything. So it's all an accumulation of everything combined. Depending on my location, where I'm at. People found me a lot, for example, in Arizona through my webpage, in Indiana through my webpage. Here in DC, not so much, because there's lots of other boudoir photographers in DC.
Oh, okay.
But I have my social media following. I book outdoor boudoir sessions or anything a lot of the times through social media, through Instagram, not Facebook, Instagram. And then also I have a system where I, get clients into my emails and I just email them regularly, or potential clients, I should say. And I just build an email community, with them.
Through an email list.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
can you talk a little bit about growing your email list? Are you using like a freebie or an opt-in type thing to get people to join your list? Or how did you grow your list in the first place?
So I I started growing my list with actually with a giveaway, where people have to punch in the email address and then you give away something, right? You can give away anything. You can give away like a session half price off, or you can give away, anything like that. And of course you have to market this giveaway. And then I have a pop-up on my webpage. It's not currently on, if you go look. It's a $400 gift certificate, or was a few months ago, and people go on the webpage. So it's important you bring people on your webpage, yeah. Facebook ads, for example, Ashleigh, and other ways. And then you have this pop-up that comes up, and the person that's on your webpage already is interested in your photo session, right? So my pop-up is $400 off your photo session, $400 gift certificate. And then after they put in the email address, they get a whole bunch of emails, like a whole bunch, like pre-written email automation for like weeks.
Yeah, like a welcome sequence is what it's
like a welcome
online.
Yeah.
So
I keep them with me, once they're there.
Okay. Because I mean, like basically what you're saying is honestly, just as consumers, we can all relate to this as like any e-commerce site that we've ever been on. Like you go shopping online and you're immediately going to be presented with a 10% off coupon, a 15% off coupon, a $10 off coupon, something. And then you always enter it because you're like, I'm here to buy something from your site. Or you think you might be buying something from the site. And then you get that coupon. And sometimes we don't, follow through and buy the thing, but we're always getting the emails. I mean, I feel like every online clothing store, I'm on their email list because I opted in for a coupon at some point, whether I used it or not, so it's very similar. It's like, sounds like you're treating your boudoir business the way like Forever 21 or H&M would treat their business.
Yes. I think this is the way to go nowadays, because you can't reach people on social media anymore. Not like you used to.
Yeah, like you're talking about like the algorithm is harder to get engagement and reach. Yeah. Awesome. Well, we have reached the point of the conversation where if anyone in the audience has a question, you are more than welcome to raise your hand and Kevin will bring you up on stage so that you can ask your question.
We do have a question. Let's see if Clubhouse allows me to bring person on stage.
In the meantime, doing that, I will still utilize our time by asking you a couple more marketing questions. So with email marketing, are you also running like a regular kind of content, like a newsletter? And how often do you send it? What is like the line between being in front of your audience and sort of annoying to the point that people are like, oh my gosh, stop emailing me, do you think?
Yes, so that is that differs from e-commerce and just building a relationship with your client. So I also run an e-commerce business, Embrace Presets, and I email a lot more there than I email clients. So clients get like email automation, welcome automation. Let's say the first few emails come after like an hour and after a day and a day and a day, because I want to grab their attention, because we get so many emails, like everybody, my inbox is full of emails. So
yes.
So I need, them to see my emails. So I'm like emailing more frequently, but then I leave them alone. I do that like once a week for a while. And then, once every 2 weeks, because it's just, photography. But for, of course, e-commerce, I do this every day, every other day for a month. Yeah.
Got it. So it's the same process, but you just feel like you don't need to be as bombarding the person.
Yeah.
So you need to get the attention. And is it like the subject line that you feel like gets the person to open the email, or what do you think it is that like really grabs people's attention?
That also depends. So when you have when you do this for your boudoir business or your photography business, they signed up for you because they're interested in a photo session, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it will be more personalized to them, the subject line, not as catchy as I would put a subject line for e-commerce. Like for e-commerce, you have to be really catchy for people to open. And it's actually really interesting. And it's one of my favorite subjects to talk about is like the subject lines and the hook lines and everything.
Yeah, for sure. Because definitely if it's like in e-commerce business, it's always like leading with the discount or leading with like open this or this expires or something to really get people to stop what they're doing and open that email. But I get what you're saying, that again, like as boudoir photographer, you don't necessarily want it to come off so pushy and salesy. And
so everything is about telling your audience a story, also through email, right? To connect with them. So you tell them what you are doing, you tell them what your business is about, and you tell them random stories. Like people are interested in your random stories. I will open emails with random stories. Like yesterday, my dog ran away, but we found him. And, for example, this. And you keep these stories up, you build a relationship with your future clients, but you do the same thing for I do the same thing for e-commerce. It's called storytelling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you have a random story like that, do you circle it back to like the photo shoot? Like, how do you get from your dog ran away, but you found him, to book a photo shoot with me? Like, how does that, how do we make the bridge?
That's the thing. You don't. So I don't. I just tell the story, and then maybe you can put in your signature, you can be like, oh, and by the way, do you still have your $400 gift certificate? Click here to book, or click here, or you can write me back if you're interested, to book soon. So you can always have that on the bottom of your emails. You can tell any story you want, but also maybe you want to come up with other stories that you can then relate to a photo shoot,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So those emails are basically used as the story time emails are more meant for brand awareness and, hey, as a reminder that here, I'm here still if you guys need me. It was never meant to be all like, hey, here's a story, now come book with me,
Exactly. It's to be top of mind. So it's just that you remind them every once in a while, hey, I'm still here, so they won't forget about you. When they think about a photographer, they're like, hey, I'm getting these emails from Jasmin, so you're always top of mind, just with a few emails.
So at any point, do you ever focus on the emails that are, hey, come book me now, or do you try to keep it more of a top of mind email list type of thing?
No. So I do it like this. For example, for Black Friday, this will be a, hey, book me now. Like, get this deal. You always wanted to have a photo session. Now it's the time, for example. But that's like a whole setup. Or you run specials during the year. Let's say you get like, you have a new product or something, and you give them like a percentage of that product. So you give them like a reason to book you. So that's how I do it.
Got it.
Okay.
What about a VIP Facebook group? I know those are kind of like all the rage with so many boudoir photographers. Do you run one of those? Do you think it's effective?
I think these Facebook groups, especially for boudoir, are super effective. So if you are new to boudoir or you want to like ramp up your boudoir business, definitely do one. I don't, because I run two groups, from my preset and then from my education side, and I just don't have time to run another group. And to actually make it work, in groups you have to be in order to make it work and actually have somebody, booking you from that group. So I don't have time for that. But yes, I think they're super, super effective.
Because there's not really a way to automate a Facebook group, right? The way you can with an email. Like, you can't sit down and make all your posts and then schedule them out so much and have it really connect with people in Facebook the way you can with an email. Is that like how you feel about it?
Yeah, you can't just really post and then go, because if you don't immediately like engage with people who engage on your post, it's like, oh, it's been 2 hours and they said something. Okay, so technically you could have an assistant posting for you in that group as your assistant if you have an assistant, you know. You could do that, but a group is a commitment if you want it to work. So
yeah, got it.
Yeah, I was going to point out that with groups, you can have automated posts, but as Jasmin said, it's the engagement after that post has been made that is important. I mean, you can create all you want, but if you're not there to answer the questions, it's like, oh, everyone's who actually took the time to post into it all of a sudden left thinking, well, where's my answer? Where's my response? You know?
Yeah.
So for you recommended, you said that you're busy and that might not be the best idea for you, but for anyone that might have the time, what type of content would you then recommend that they put into a Facebook group that they create?
So I'm in a few Facebook groups, actually, boudoir Facebook groups for clients. Yeah, mainly because I want to book other boudoir photographers. And what works really, really good is just fun engagement. Like those are not photographers; those are normal people. So just fun interaction. Like what did you do today, or this or that. You know, what would you rather? Where would you rather live? Mountain. You know, these kind of Facebook engagement posts. So this works best for these kind of groups. So nothing like, although I have seen also people putting their products there and also like posting their sessions there. Most of the time it's women only groups. So maybe, you know, when you have your clients posting their sessions there. So I've seen all that. Groups are amazing. Yeah. Now I want to make a group.
Awesome. Well, I also wanted to talk to you about editing the outdoor boudoir photos and your process, because I know, and Kevin knows, and hopefully our listeners know, that you are like the queen of presets, and you actually have presets for sale in the Portrait Masters store. So if people haven't checked them out, they should. So I guess editing is probably one of your superpowers then. And I'm wondering like how, if at all, editing an outdoor session is different from editing a studio photography boudoir session.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's completely different because a studio boudoir is like, so my studio boudoir is like dark and moody. So I'm shooting, you know, for the highlights and everything is dark and moody, but I do have, you know, preset collections for that in your store. But for outdoors, it's most of the time. So I love contrast and, you know, color. So when I'm outside and I see this beautiful light, like this sunset light, I love to just bring out these colors. And I love how to edit. Like I just love editing like more colorful than I do indoors. Indoors I'm more muted and moody.
Got it. So in terms of like your editing, since you do presets, do you strictly stay in Lightroom?
Well, no, actually. Yeah, I do. I am only in Lightroom for like my presets when I put a preset on. But when I am retouching, like sometimes you have to retouch stuff, I do that in Photoshop because it's just better. I basically grew up with Photoshop, so Photoshop was the first thing I learned.
Okay.
Before I ever touched Lightroom, yeah, I avoided Lightroom for years.
Why is that?
I was like, Lightroom is so complicated. That's why I was like, yes, I know. It's super easy. I thought it was so complicated because I learned Photoshop first. But actually, it's the other way around. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone books you for an outdoor boudoir session, are you delivering like retouched Photoshopped images? Are you just doing like Lightroom edits and then they can pay extra for like what is the service that you offer the client?
Oh, I'm just editing in Lightroom, and when I think I have to Photoshop something, I Photoshop something. So that's something I do. My client has nothing to do with it. So they just get what I give them. basically.
So it's basically like on discretion, like if you see like in this certain lighting setup or something, you really notice a blemish or something that you feel like needs to be removed, that's when you'll take it into Photoshop, but you're not necessarily like Photoshopping every single image that you deliver to them.
Yeah, so what I do is as far as like retouching and stuff, I do not alter like your body type or whatever. I don't make you smaller than you are, unless my photo made you bigger than you really are, you know? That happens sometimes. I mean, it depends. Sometimes you see a person in real life and then you have a photo of that person and that's not what they look like in real life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I barely do that. Sometimes you have to Photoshop something here and there, remove a blemish or something. But it's nothing I discuss really, because I don't really change you, you know, I don't really alter anything on your body. Yeah.
It feels like your editing is a lot more like, say, how a person would do a wedding, where you have the set of images where you're putting the presets and any editing color correction there, but only a touch here and there of potential Photoshop work. Whereas in our community, within the Sue Bryce community, we're doing portraits. You're doing 20 images. Let's look at all blemishes. Let's do high-end retouching, push, pull, maybe a little tiny bit here and there to get the end result. But no, it just seems like, fortunately, with that setup in Lightroom, it's preset, so everything looks the same and you're good to go.
Yeah, so I've set up my presets the way I want to edit. So basically, when I put a preset on, it's already, the skin is smooth, you know, the colors are almost like I want them. You always have to tweak them. But when I have to tell you, when I have like a close-up, it depends on the person. I do a Photoshopping, right? So I do it the way I would want somebody to Photoshop me. If you have a close-up of me and I'm 42 years old, right? I don't want to see everything, because the camera shows you things that you don't see as a person when you talk to somebody, right? So I don't want to see, you know, all that stuff. So if I have a close-up of somebody, I will retouch, but you will still look the same, but you will look good. I mean, like amazing, you know?
That's funny. As being that I also help lead the 90-day challenge for the portrait system, there's instances where I've gone live on Zoom. I'll tether my camera into my computer, you know, and I'm showing everybody, and I'll zoom in, and it's just like any form of imperfections. Here you go, guys. And I'm thinking, I'm all like, oh no, I need to pull back. I need to not show that. So I get what you're saying when, you know, edit the way you would want to be edited, especially when you're up close, you know?
Yeah, that's what I do. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you, what are your thoughts on the idea of people strictly using presets? Is it just a slap it on and they're done? Or is there anything that they should be doing afterwards once they use the presets?
Oh yes, definitely. Preset is not all the time a one click. And even if it's a one click, you should always tweak your preset and make it better, right? When I started photography in 2013, I bought a bunch of presets and put them on my photo. And I told you I didn't do Lightroom, but I used them on Lightroom with my photos, but I didn't know how to work Lightroom. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? This doesn't work. Scam, because I didn't know that you have to like adjust them to your photo, adjust them to your light and, you know, to your work. So you definitely have to, if you want, you know, great outcome, you definitely have to do some tweaking. It could just take like 30 seconds or 2 minutes, or depending on how you want your photo to look. So definitely, yes, tweak. You get the tones with the preset, but you have to do the work, you know, to make your photo look amazing.
Are you doing like any of the like brushing in Lightroom, or is that pure Photoshop? Like, will you ever just do like a brush over someone's skin to like increase the exposure or the brightness or like reduce the clarity? Or do you, when you actually are getting into like that specific of work, you just go into Photoshop?
So I do that in Lightroom too. What I do in Photoshop is like getting rid of blemishes or clone stamping something, But in Lightroom, I do have brushes. I brush over, and you can adjust skin tone with brushes and all kinds. But I don't use brushes all the time, only when I have to, because my presets are already doing everything I want them to do, basically.
That's awesome. Yeah, I still I outsource my editing. So editing's still sort of like new to me. Like I'm always amazed at the things that can just very simply be done with a preset or with Lightroom itself in terms of the brushes and everything.
Yes.
Well, also I wanted to talk to you about pricing. I will say that we're in the last 10 minutes of our conversation. So if there was anyone listening in Clubhouse who did want to ask Jasmin a question, your time is ticking. So raise your hand now. But I wanted to talk with you about how you price these outdoor boudoir sessions and just see if it's different than like kind of how the portrait system community is pricing studio sessions. So can you walk us through like, what is your system? Are you doing package only? Are you doing a sitting fee? Are you doing in-person reveal? Like, what is your system for selling the outdoor boudoir sessions?
First of all, I want to say, when you run your business, you can run it however you want to.
Yes, of course.
And
there are no rules.
Yes, exactly. It's your life. You have, if you have like a studio, I would not change a thing I would keep it IPS if you're already doing all of this stuff. But what I do for outdoors is packages, pre-packages, and prepaid as well, right? So they choose what they want, and then they pay the retainer, which is on top of everything. And then a week before they pay me, or sometimes with a payment plan or something. But I don't do IPS, but you can totally rock IPS with outdoor boudoir sessions, because you can make these outdoor boudoir sessions like really artsy with wings and stuff like that, and sell a huge canvas, a woman on the mountain with the wings and the sunset. So yeah, totally. I mean, there is no difference actually between studio and outdoors. If it's all the same work.
Do you focus then on, when you're selling to clients, are you more selling folio boxes? Did you mention wall art? Or are you selling them more along the lines of, say, a wedding where they buy a set number of images? Like, and if so, what number is that?
So no, when you I have 3 packages. When you get my lowest package, you only get like 20 photos and you get nothing else. And I give them digital, it's fine. It's just what I do. But that's not what I want them to book. I want them to book something else with like I used to do, for example, a little black book. So you can do that for outdoor boudoir as well, just to get them. You get these photos and you get a little bit of black book, and then for the next package you get, so like 40 photos, a little black book, and this canvas, right?
So more for more, basically.
Yeah, exactly. You basically get nothing for the lowest.
The lowest one.
Yes, you do get the digitals. I know some people don't sell digitals, but it's easier for me. It's just, I want to keep it as simple as possible right now with outdoor boudoir. So it's just simple.
Okay. And you mentioned what 20, 40, you said there was one more potentially above that?
I do have a package with all the digitals. That's the most expensive package. Yeah, that's.
And I assume all the digitals means like everything that you were happy with.
Yeah, everything that I want to give them.
Yeah. How many pictures would you say you come up with on a typical outdoor boudoir shoot? Like if someone was to get all the digitals, I know it's approximate, it's going to vary per client and everything, but like, what is that approximate number?
I come up with a lot of decent photos in a session. So it could be 100, but most of the time I show them like 50 or something. You cannot show them like, or give them like, I don't want to give them 100 photos, Yeah,
it can get overwhelming for sure.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time, I would assume, to edit. Even if you are mainly doing Lightroom editing, it's like you said, you're not just one clicking each image, you're still needing to go through.
And less is more. You can have like one photo and then have 10 different versions of this photo, but just you choose like that photo that's the best of that.
Yeah, totally. That totally makes sense.
Yep. I was going to point out that I know in another interview, I can't remember the photographer at the moment, that interviewed with Nikki, had basically pointed out they have two packages.
Oh, it was Damali.
Was it Damali?
Yeah, the 6,500 one and then like the 15,000 one.
Wow. Okay, that I don't remember that number, but just the idea of like you get 25 images. I'm not sure if it was Damali or not. I think it might have been someone a little bit earlier than that, where it was like 25 images, all of the images, and both of them are priced well, but the all of the images are priced really well.
That's so 15,000 is good price.
Well, yeah, I remember I listened to Damali's fairly recently. It didn't even come out that long ago, and I do remember she had two packages, and it was like a very similar concept because it was branding. It was digital only, and it was like you're going to get this amount of pictures in this one, or you're going to get this amount of pictures in this one, and it includes these things. And it was just, I really admired it because it was so cut and dry what was offered, and it was either a fit for you or it wasn't a fit for you. You could take it or leave it. There wasn't all this like, pick however many images you want and all that, which I love. And that's the way I run my business. But I can see the value and the benefit to just being like, it is what it is, take it or leave it. These are the amount of images you're going to get, and it's going to be awesome. Like, I think at the end of the day, we all have to do what we can sell with confidence, but I certainly can admire other people's business models and sort of can see the attraction to selling that way.
Exactly, yes.
So, Jasmin, we are coming up on the 1 hour mark. So before we let you go and everything, can you give an advice to photographers that maybe are looking towards the opportunity of maybe they don't have the studio space and they're interested in how they can make boudoir work, potentially going outside?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So if you want to start doing outdoor boudoir, I suggest you find some models online on Instagram, or maybe a friend that wants to have their pictures on the internet, and then you start shooting for it and you start putting that out. First, start putting that out on social media. You put that out on your webpage, and you brand it, and then you will start booking it.
Yeah, I think that, as you said, that branding it and making it part of your identity and not something that people should worry about, like, oh, I don't have that studio space. Reframe your position, and you're going to be good.
Make it a thing. Make it your thing. Like, call it into the wild.
There you go. Well, thank you very much, Jasmin. But before we let you go, I want to be sure that we have the opportunity to share where people can find you.
Yes. You can find me on jasminjade.com, no E, Jasmin. And you can find me on the Jasmin Jade on Instagram, also no E. And embracepresets.com, of course. And yeah, that's basically it.
Does Embrace Presets have its own Instagram as well that people should?
Oh, they do. Yes, they do. It's embrace_presets. Family photography there.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you. And everyone, please be sure to go follow Jasmin everywhere she just mentioned. And also make sure to follow the Portrait System on Instagram and on Facebook as well. And also be sure to check out our blog posts that are associated with our interviews at SueBryceEducation.com/blog. You can follow Ashleigh at Ashleigh Taylor Portrait. That is ASHLEI. And you can find me there as poplight_photography. If you are a member of the Portrait System and you have any more questions for Jasmin, myself, or Ashleigh, go tag us in posts in the Portrait System members only Facebook group. And if you are not a member of the Portrait System and you are interested in learning how it can help your business succeed, reach out to Ella on our support team by emailing support@subriceeducation.com. Thank you again for joining us, and hope you can join us next week.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
We're good.
You guys can talk. I'm just waiting for the YouTube to
Okay.
catch up with this.
Okay.
No worries.
I think I left the room.
Did you close the room, Kevin?
I closed the room,
Okay.
or at least I left. Did you leave?
You have to like leave it and close it, I think.
Mm-mm. It's the second moderator who leaves.
I didn't leave because my phone is out.
Go grab your phone.
Okay.
Go grab your phone.